Hey guys, welcome back to What Could Go Wrong. This video I'm gonna go over Prot Warrior and how it works. More accurately, I'm gonna go over how I personally play a Prot Warrior. Now, with that being said, I'm just gonna jump straight into it. I will go ahead and premise this video by saying I'm probably not gonna do a whole lot of editing, so this is just kind of like all the chaos at once. All right, so I'm going to start out by talking about our stats. So as you can see, this is my current item level, the gear that I have. I have predominantly hero track gear. I do have two crafted weapon and shield, which I'll get to all this in a minute. But starting off, we're going to look at stats. So right now, my stats are not exactly where I want them to be, but as you can see, there is a lot going on. So, primarily, what you're looking for is strength, stamina, right? So, if you look at these, pretty much baseline plate armor is going to come with strength and stamina. Now, in general, you do want to take item level over anything else. However, if you're going to take a piece of gear, you want to make sure it's plate, it has strength, it has stamina on there, and you want to take the highest percentage of strength and stamina that you can, right? Next, look at secondary stats. So, right now, my stats are not aligned super great. Primarily, as a warrior, you want haste and you want versatility, with mastery and critical strike falling shortly behind. Now, with that being said, stats are pretty well aligned, so it's not super important. And the rest of these tertiary stats will just kind of whatever you get, you have. All right. So if you look at haste, haste is going to increase your attack speed and your spell casting speed. So essentially what that plays into is the more haste you have, the faster your GCD goes. And having a high GCD means you get more spells out. More spells out means more rage. Great for pretty much any situation. All right. Now, um, versatility is going to increase our damage and healing done. Now, warriors in general have taken a lot of damage nerfs, especially protection warriors. It is very important to have a good damage profile so you can maintain that threat, so you can get that aggro. It's important to have that haste so you can get more spells out and you can generate that rage. You're getting everything. The healing increases are great because if you ever hit a situation where you are struggling and you just need healing, having higher versatility makes those self heals do a little bit more, gives your healer a little bit of chance to help you, and you're chilling. Now, mastery, it just increases our block chance. But if you look down here, we already get a tertiary stat for block, right? So it's less important, and the critical blocking, it comes in handy, but it gets outshined by the getting more spells off, getting your defensives off faster, all of that. Critical strike, it does help with the healing and with the damage, and I get it that it's important, but it's not as big for us because most of our damage is to build threat, and crit doesn't build enough threat to or enough extra threat to really matter that much, right? So moving on, go into enchantments, right? So this one on my chest is just a primary stat increase. Then I've got strength. So you can see, like, you can already see my primary stat, which is strength, is being increased with this enchantment. I'm getting a strength increase from my legs. I'm getting a stamina boost. So just those three enchantments, they're really small with the increases and they don't mean as much, but they make a difference in the overall. Generating more strength and more stamina gives you more health, and if we look at our strength, increases the magnitude of attacks and abilities. So we have an increased magnitude, we have faster ability to get things out. Then the leech, all leech is going to do for us, as you see here, it's just going to return a portion of our damage as healing. So it works. Like, that's what you're looking for. And then on my rings, just haste. And then I will pull up my gems. So my gems are increasing my haste and versatility. The two primary stats that I said we wanted to go after. You want as much haste as possible. You want as much versatility. So with haste being our primary, versatility being our secondary, we take more haste and less versatility. So versatile emeralds are going to be the primary gem you want to go to. All right. Now, as far as gear goes, So personally, I generally speaking, when it comes to tier sets, I know people say, "Oh, you only want to run the ones that are going to give you stats." I personally like to run all five. I haven't. I've got to go change this over to a tier piece. I just haven't done it yet, but I run all five tier pieces. Outside of that, I pretty much look for haste versatility gear, or I go with the best strength stamina increases that I can get. Sometimes that means I sacrifice haste for mastery or versatility for crit. That is okay. Now, as far as trinkets go, there are going to always be, oh, this is the best trinket available. Really, what you want is you want a trinket that is going to work for your playstyle. Now, I always keep enemies in front of me just because I played a leather tank for so long. You don't ever let an enemy get behind you. If you're a leather tank, you always want them directly in front of you. So having the Silken Chain Weaver is super, super nice for me personally because that is a frontal that's going to do damage, and that's an extra thing outside of my GCDs that I can do. As far as my second trap, the Abyssal Trap. So I run this because, again, if they are in front of me, I throw that trap down, I adjust my position slightly, they trigger my trinket. And it only does more to help, especially with this being a damage every second, right? So it very much helps, all right? Crafted items, I would only recommend crafting a weapon and crafting a shield. That is all I have crafted. Now, the reason why I say just your sword and shield. It can be incredibly difficult to get a sword or shield at the item level that you need it to be to make it through the whole season. Okay. Not super important if you want to get a neck, or if you want some like waist, if you want something crafted for specific stats, because maybe the season doesn't offer a haste and versatility uh, back piece. So you want to craft a back piece to make it work so you can have those stats. You can do that, but that gets into min maxing, and that only really becomes important at the highest of key levels. So, recommend sword and shield be what you craft. Always try and craft at the best possible quality. So what I did was, let me pull this up here, that out of the way. My specialization. The first thing I did was I went straight into my shields. Second thing I did, I went straight into my weaponsmithing. The first two things that I capitalized on with leveling my blacksmithing was I made my own sword and I made my own shield. And if I go down to here, let's see here. That's armor. This is what I want. So my charged claymore. Ah, no. Like I said, I'm not editing this, so just, So I'm running an Everforged longsword, which at the beginning of the season was the best item for us to craft. So as you can see, I already, just with my skill points, I already have an expected quality of 3 stars. If I apply my concentration, now all of a sudden I have a 4-star. Now, I can get more. And if I add certain things, if I get the best quality of crafting regions, you can potentially make that 5-star. Okay. I personally did not, just because of where I was at the time. I was trying to get keys, I was trying to get it crafted, I was just ready to go. So that's what I did. And then it is the same thing with my shield. So I go into Everforged Defender. It's at the same point already. Concentration, automatically have a 4-star. Better stats and everything, I could potentially get that 5-star. It is possible and very doable. So as far as gear, that is what I would recommend. Trinkets, crafting, all of that. Um, that's what I recommend for your gear. Okay. Now, moving into talents. So this is my talent tree, my personal talent tree. I run this build in pretty much every key that I do. I think the only thing that I will occasionally bounce around with is I drop a talent. I forget which one. I would have to actually find it. But I'll drop a talent. I'll take intervene, and I have my intervene set up to click cast so that I can give that extra defensive to somebody, especially like mages, or priests or like weaker classes, I'll run intervene depending on the dungeon, like how it's going to work, and go from there. Outside of that, this is very standard for me. I highly recommend whatever you're gonna go make a point to get down this middle tree, because Avatar is one of your strongest defensives. We'll get into in a little bit, and then having these choice nodes here. I mean, each one does something different that makes it amazing. As far as extra pathing, I prefer this side over here. All right, the left side of the tree I feel like is just better. The right side of the tree, you have that strength boost. Champion Spear just doesn't feel like it does enough, and the choice notes you get down, I just don't feel like it's enough to make me want to path down this. The only thing I would consider would be going for Armor to the Teeth, but you have to sacrifice too many other talents. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. The one talent that, or no, the two talents I would say that are non-negotiable no matter what you're going to do in this tree is, I would say, probably Heroic Leap and double time. Non-negotiable, you have to have these to be successful as a warrior. Having that extra charge is great, right? As far as offensives, I would say you need Thunderclap. As non-negotiable as Thunderclap is, it plays directly into our hero talents, right? So if you're going to run Mountain Thane, same as I do, you have to have Thunderclap to be successful. Avatar is essential to your defensive lineup, right? So in general, on the class tree, doesn't really matter what you have, but offensively, Thunderclap, non-negotiable. Defensively, Avatar, non-negotiable. And for just pure utility of non-negotiable is Double Time and Heroic Leap. They change everything and they are a big part of your rotation. And if you ever watch my videos on my Prot Warrior, you will see that I use both of those very, very often. Now, as far as the class tree, so, or I'm sorry, the spec tree. The spec tree is not super interchangeable. You will see over here, I have a top copy, which is the top warrior. I copied his build just to run it every now and again, and his does differ from mine. I know a lot of people will tell you don't go down the don't hit these two down the right side of the tree. You want to focus the middle and this left. Like, eh, it's playable and you can play around it, and I can see why it would be important. But overall, this is pretty much what you're running. Um, until you hit your three choice nodes. I would say from this level up, yeah, I would say from this level up, it is non-negotiable what you run. As far as this down here, I definitely recommend you look at your play style, you look at how you're trying to do things, and you build this down here based off of that. I definitely think shield charge is a necessity. I could not imagine running without shield charge, especially with the amount of casters we have. Uh, Ravager helps with the bigger pulls. If you accidentally pull an extra mob, if you have a mob with more than like 3 or 4 people, like, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so your Thunderclap is reduced damage beyond 5 targets. So you drop and you lose that damage. Ravager will pick it up to 8 targets. So I think that Ravager is super important to have. But as far as what node you go all the way down, I would say Shield Charge, non-negotiable. Ravager, probably non-negotiable. But as far as choice nodes and where you're going to put those extra talents, I think that you could very easily go stay in the middle. Like, I could probably take this out, I could take this out, and I could put them both right there, and I think I would be just fine. But I personally, I prefer this setup. I don't think the middle of the talent tree is as strong as what people want it to be and what they believe it to be. So, hero talents, right? So, I played Colossus a little bit when I was leveling. I've tinkered with it a little bit. I mean, as you can see, I don't even have these last 3 talents in. I did not enjoy Colossus. I didn't enjoy the playstyle, and I didn't like having that extra button on a cooldown to worry about for damage. It just did not play very well, in my opinion. Mountain Thane, just the buffing abilities I'm already using on a regular basis, making it just better to play the warrior style that I've already been playing fit very, very well. I think the only choice node that I take that is just catastrophically different than everybody else is right in the center. I take Storm Bolts, right? Which causes my Storm Bolt to hit 2 additional nearby targets, stunning them for 2 seconds, but its cooldown is increased by 10 seconds. Versus Storm Shield. Intervening a target grants them a shield that absorbs 5%. Let me try that again. Intervening a target grants them a shield for 5 seconds that absorbs magic damage equal to 3 times your armor. That I can see is helpful, but I also don't see using Intervene on a regular basis. Even with this talent, I can't imagine a scenario where I would use Intervene often enough to be able to get that. Okay. So in general, though, these outside of this one node right here, these are the hero talents that you're gonna run. All right. They make it better, they make the playstyle better, they make your gameplay better, and they just make you better as a warrior. All right. So, moving right along into defensive rotation. All right. Now, your defenses there's quite a few of them that you can use. All right. So the way that I set up my action bar is I have all my attack abilities down here, my defensives are all right here. My trinkets always stay up there, and this is just utility for me personally as a tank. I have a couple extra attacks over here. I've got my magic defensives right here so that I can use them as I need to. So, as far as your defensives go, what do you use and when do you use it? So, the biggest thing that I would say that you want to maintain uptime on is shield block. Shield block should almost always be up, and if it's on cooldown and you can't get a charge of it, use Ignore Pain. These two are probably your strongest standard defensives for a pull, right? Now, if you're going into a pull with a large amount of people, if you're going into a pull that you know you're going to take a lot of damage on, there's going to be a lot for you to think about. It's super simple. Get your shield block up. Throw on your shield wall. Get it once everything is grouped. Let me rephrase this. So once everything is grouped, shield wall, demoralizing shout, avatar, in that order. The reason why I say that is if we go over here and we look at this talent. So these two talents are very personal opinion. I personally take immovable object. Activating avatar or shield wall grants the other for 4 seconds of the other. Now, where that comes into play is I put my shield wall up. It lasts for 8 seconds. For 4 seconds, I have avatar. In those 4 seconds, I can do demoralizing shout. I can throw a thunderclap down, and then I can click my avatar. Once I click my avatar, I get 4 seconds of shield wall back. So let's say that my shield wall is at 2 seconds left. I click avatar. Now I have a 6 seconds of shield wall instead. These three very much play into each other, and you want to save them for like, uh-oh type situations, or this is going to be a big pull, or I'm going to take a lot of damage on this pull, or there's a big tank buster happening. And yes, I say shield wall, demoralizing shout, and then avatar, but you can do it the other way around. All you want to make sure is you have maybe 1 to 2 GCDs in between shield wall and avatar, or avatar and shield wall. That is probably the most important part of it. Now, your actual rotation for in combat. The way that I do things, right? So I immediately charge in, or I leap in, or whatever, but I'm generally using one of the 3 of these right here to get in. That's why I have them keybound, right? After I am in on the target, the first thing I do is evaluate, okay, is there 1 or 2 targets to worry about? There's 1. Cool. Single target. Super simple. Shield slam, thunderclap, defensive, thunderous roar, defensive, revenge. Right? And again, I'm alternating between my shield block and my ignore pain because those are going to be my 2 biggest ones. I don't need to do multiple shield blocks, so I can do multiple ignore pains to burn the rage. So Once you go in, Thunderclap, or I'm sorry, Shield Slam, Thunderclap, Thunderous Roar. Those are your those should be your 3 first offensive GCDs. In the event that you have excess rage, you can spend it in one of 2 ways. Excess rage can go into revenge, or it can go into ignore pain. If you're maintaining good stacks of ignore pain, cooldown's not quite there yet, you're good. So you have that 2.7 million damage prevention, and it's still got like, I don't know, 7 or 8 seconds, but you're capped on rage. Throw everything into revenge. Get as many revenges out as you can because that's going to build your threat. That's going to do more for you. Then your cooldowns are reset. You go back into your same 3. Your same 3 attacks. Then you start noticing your healer is struggling a little bit, so you're getting into a point where you need to heal. Impending victory, you can do that, self-heal. Bitter immunity is great, but you need to be smart about how you use it. So yes, it is a health boost, but it also removes diseases, poisons, and curses. So if you don't need to remove a disease, poison, or curse, I wouldn't really worry about it too much. I would focus on using your impending victory, maybe throwing out last stand if you need it, because that 30% health boost gets you good, heals you. It's a heal, like it's more for you, and it's a better cooldown to use just for self-healing. Now, let's say we're in an AoE situation, right? So I charge in, I leap in, I do whatever I need to do. I thunderclap, I thunderous roar, I shield slam, I revenge, and I get Ravager out. That is my priorities, right? Priority number 1, thunderclap. Priority number 2, thunderous roar. Those are the number 1 priorities. You can throw Ravager down, get your ignore pain going, then circle back around to revenge. You can do everything pretty much how you want, but thunderous roar, thunderclap, and Ravager have to go out within the first 3 GCDs of an AoE pull. The reason why I say that is because those are your big, strong AoEs that are going to hit everything. If you're in an AoE situation, pending victories on cooldown, last stands on cooldown, and bitter immunities on cooldown, you can shockwave, stun everybody. That's 2 seconds that your healer has a chance to burst heal you. You can throw a Stormbolt out if it's only 3 targets. Once again, goes back into this talent right here. I have all 3 targets and I stun them for 2 seconds. That's a 4-second stun that can mean life or death for you. Now, why I say these are important. An extra charge, you can charge in, hit everybody, charge into another group, hit everybody, leap into a third group. You just made a big pull. And then you just sit there and you just wait for all of them to get over there to you. That's why the extra charge is important. Shield charge is great because you have that one caster on the edge of the group that's not quite with the rest of the group. You hit him with a shield charge, they're stunned. Taunt and disrupting shout. I personally wait for losing aggro. That is when you want to use that. All right. So we'll start with the single target rotation. And we're going to charge in, shield slam, thunderclap, thunderous roar, shield block. Oops. Shield slam again, ignore pain, thunderclap, pending victory. Now we're getting hit. We're taking damage. We're getting our GCDs and our cooldowns reset. So now we're going to go shield wall, intimidating shout, shield slam, avatar, thunderclap, spin. And just because, our rage is not actually low, so let's burn it. Let's go. Let's get our stacks of ignore pain up. Throw out your attacks in the middle. And now we're capped. All right, well, there's not much for us to do right now. We don't need any more ignore pain. Burn a revenge. Revenge. Burn that rage with revenge. Now, shield slam. Thunderclap. Ignore pain is back. Thunderous roar. Now, we're in this situation. We have no rage. We're running out of our ignore pain. Throw Ravager down. Start building up rage. Now, our attacks are giving us rage. We're back up. We're throwing these out. Either way it goes, your bleeds are being stacked by your thunderclap. So that's essentially what you want to look at with your single target. Now, AOE, let's see if there's more than, there we go. So, I have a, let's go to this over here, actually. So I'm going to start with this group right here just because it is a 5-target encounter. Now, I'm saying back, I'm getting ready. This time, I'm not going to charge in because otherwise they're all going to jump in and hit around the same time. So what I would normally do is I would jump behind them back here so I can start off my initial thunderclap hits behind them. And then I would turn the group as I need to. For the purposes of this video, I am not going to do that. I'm going to jump into the front. But always remember, you want to jump behind the group and then you want to hit thunderclap. That's the priority. Okay? So I jump in, thunderclap, thunderous roar, Ravengers down, my defensive is up, my ignore pains are going. I'm pushing out my shield slams, all right? So now a shield wall, demoralizing shout, avatar. I go through. I don't need it. I still have rage. I don't need ignore pain. But let's say that I do. So I'm capped on rage right now. I pop my ignore pain. I throw out revenge to burn that rage, and then I go right back into my priorities. Ravengers, back up. I'm going to throw it out as soon as it comes off a cooldown. Shield block. And then we're going. And now I can introduce trinkets. Okay. So I'm sitting here. I'm burning off all my rage. I don't really have any priorities to deal with. So trinket, throw it out. Boom, right back into my rotation. Shield block. Right there. And now you notice you still have your extra stack of shield wall. Your demoralizing shout is off cooldown and avatar is both off cooldown. Let's go backwards. Then in 2 GCDs. Then right back into it. And I'm still able to keep up with everything. Right? So all in all, that is what your rotation is generally speaking going to look like. That is what things are going to look like as a protection warrior. And that's pretty much how you want to play. It's a very simple tank, very easy to understand, and it has a lot of different unique abilities to deal with different things, and it's very versatile in how you play. I know for a long time I played pretty much purely around ignore pain. I did all of my cooldowns around ignore pain. I didn't use shield block as much. Now, given where I'm at this point in time, I use shield block a lot more just because of the changes in how I play. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it made sense. Remember, if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. If you guys have any comments, if I left anything off, if you play differently, like anything at all, just leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will catch y'all next time. But always remember, what could possibly go wrong?